I am Khaled ElSherbini, and I like always to start uh, these introductory sessions by first introducing myself and where I came from. How did I reach the point I am in right now? It's by understanding my personal journey that really the methodology and the let's say the goal behind what we're doing becomes very evident. So to start, I am Khaled ElSherbini. I have numerous academic degrees. I have a doctorate in mechanical and aerospace engineering from West Virginia in the United States. I have a master's in environmental sciences from the American University in Cairo. I have an MBA in innovation and technology management from the German University. This is what I call was my professional career. And with these degrees, I was working in numerous research institutes as a professional, as a scientist, as a researcher. And then after some time, I was a director of research institutes, building research institutes in Egypt. This was something very unique. And I was always searching for the meaning behind what I'm doing and the meaning behind why I'm here and what am I actually trying to reach. As you can see from the degrees, and these are just the degrees on the top, there were many other degrees around them, that I was always looking for something. I call it, I was seeking. I was seeking for satisfaction, for peace, for calmness, for contentment. And as all of us, I was always told that you can find it in achievement, you can find it in knowledge, you can find it in material wealth, in material gain, in fame, in power. And I was running. I call it the treadmill. I hopped onto the treadmill very early in my life, and I was just running from one goal to the other, from one achievement to the other. And the more I try to take from the outside world to fill this gap inside that needed to be filled, the more actually I felt this gap was increasing, this hole was becoming bigger. I wasn't getting any more fuller, I was getting emptier. It's as if each one of us has two worlds that are separate from each other unless we really wake up and realize what's happening to us. We have an outside world that we're focused on from our childhood and that we're trying to achieve in it what we believe will give us what we're looking for. And we have an inner world. This inner world is really the source of our drives, of our motivations, of our pains, of our pleasures, of what is pushing us to do what we do. But if we're not present, if we're not aware, if we're not awake, we create a sense of separation between our outside world and our inner world. And we start to seek outside what we can only find and what we can only be satisfied with if we search and find inside. So that was my journey for quite a while, for at least 3 decades. And every now and then, every few years, I would pass by something. I would read something in psychology, in philosophy, in mysticism, in spirituality, in self-development, and it would be like, wow, there's something here. Yeah, but I don't have time now. I have my job. I need to finish this study. I need to finish my bachelor's. Oh, I need to get married. Oh, I need to get kids. Oh, I need to get the kids into school. Oh, I need to get the kids out of school. Oh, I need to have achievements. Oh, I need to make my business. There's always a milestone I'm running after. There's always something else I need to achieve. So you can wait. Until I reached a point in my life around 7, 8 years ago, I call it a crisis point, where this separation was too much. I couldn't go on anymore like that. I draw a metaphorical picture of me like opening this wonderful door every now and then, looking inside. Yes, there's something here, but I'll come back to you later. And then one day I opened this door and I looked inside and someone just came behind me and pushed me in and closed the door. That was a huge change in my life. It was the time when I really turned my whole focus and started to know myself. It's a very important word here. Know yourself, know thyself, look inside yourself. It's something we've read in all the traditions, in all the philosophies, something we've seen everywhere, but no one has actually taught us. How do we do that? What does that mean? I know myself. What do you mean know yourself? I know who I am. Everyone knows who he is. What do you mean know yourself? This is where I started entering into what I call today the sciences of spirituality or the transpersonal sciences. And I went on to take a master's degree. I'm finishing it in transpersonal psychology. I'm doing it in Liverpool John Moores University in the United Kingdom. I'm in my thesis stage, almost in my thesis stage. And in addition, I went on to study lots of what they call self-development sciences. I went into NLP, into Reiki, into systemic constellations, into coaching, all these common things. And every one of them, I would hold the thread, I would get the thread to the end. No, 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 not yet. It's a lovely tool. There's something here. It's as if I was piling areas of knowledge beside each other, but they were all just areas of knowledge. They were all tools. It wasn't really until I found two incredible tools, two incredible models, that a whole shift in my life happened. That's when I discovered the Enneagram and the integral consciousness model as given to us by Ken Wilber, and all the sources that Ken refers to, from Cyril Rabendo to Jean Gebser to all the others that he always refers to, and we go back and read those original sources, and Jean Piaget and others. And when by discovering these two, this is actually when my crisis point happened. I understood I now need to give my life to this. This is where I have to focus. And I literally, not just metaphorically, went into the wilderness. I spent like 2 years, I just shed off all my old skin. And under the umbrella of Enneagram and integral sciences, I just spent like 1.5 years in a contemplative state, in a state of transformation. It's a state that I say moved from here down to here. A state that started affecting deep in the core. And it's a place where a synthesis and integration of all these sciences, from engineering to physics to biology to evolution to psychology to philosophy to mysticism to spirituality, everything came together. And then I had a calling to start to teach. I never had in my mind that one day I'll be teaching these sciences. But I would be sitting with a few people, and then others would tell me, come and sit with us. And I started to talk about what I'm starting to channel. And a bit by bit, a whole new path started appearing to me. A path I like to call the path of enlightenment. In this path of enlightenment, I created a 5-step process. I understood that people approach this path of enlightenment from so many directions, but they get hooked on one of the aspects of the path. And it's very important to realize that our minds think linearly. They like to see steps. But life actually is more of a cyclical process. It's more of a spiral where you keep going in rounds, days and nights, seasons going around, years going around, eras going around. Everything is cyclical. So I initially present these 5 steps in a linear fashion, and then I put them in a cycle. The first step in the process, in the methodology of enlightenment and awakening and realizing the essence and the truth, is presence. Being here, being able to look inside, to look in yourself, being able to be present to what's happening within you, to the triggers, to the reactions, to the energies, to the thoughts, to the emotions, to the sensations, to be with them, receive them from the inside and the out until you reach a point, but this is still early, where the in and the out connect. The separation ceases to exist. In this presence, you start to really know yourself, really be with yourself. And then comes the second step, the step of the inner work. Now that you have the capacity to observe yourself and you know what to observe, now you need to work on it. And under inner work comes all the science of psychology that was created in the last 120 years. You get to see the inner child wounds, you get to see the traumas, you get to see the psychological material, the psychological luggage, you get to see the ego material, you get to see the personality, you get to see the masks, you get to see the faces, you get to see the attachments, the illusions, you get to see the shadow material inside. And I've studied these psychological aspects from so many schools. So in the West, Carl Jung would call them shadow material, or Stanislav Grof would talk about the prenatal traumas, and then you would have the mystical experiences talking about the Sufis, talking about the diseases of the heart, the Christian mysticism talking about the sins of the heart, the deadly sins, the Buddhists talking about the inner ghosts, the demons, the Taoists talking about the demons. So every school had different metaphors for the same psychological and psycho-spiritual luggage inside. Now, by working on releasing these shadows and these wounds within, you start to open up to deeper perspectives. You start to realize that your whole life you've been stuck to observing the world from just one perspective, like looking in the eye hole of the door and thinking that you know the whole world. Now, when you've observed, you realize that all the human beings are just reflections of one another. All of them are just facets of one real, holistic view of reality. One wholeness, one oneness. And this is where you start to create perspectives, standpoints. You can now see the world from where you are, but at least understand. If you cannot see it from the other perspectives, you can at least understand what the other perspectives are. And I call this horizontal consciousness. And I found no model better than the Enneagram to open our hearts to these horizontal consciousness and these perspectives. And from these horizontal consciousness and perspectives, something profound happens. The heart opens up for empathy and compassion. Before being able to see the world from others' perspectives, you are stuck in sympathy, in pity, in false illusions of understanding. But with the heart, with this openness of perspectives, you can now really have a sense of compassion and love in your heart. And this opens the door for the fourth step, which is expansion. Psychological, cognitive, and intellectual maturity and expansion. Now you are ready to actually observe the development of complexity in the world around you and to understand your personal journey of increasing complexity and increasing cognitive capacity, the ability to hold multiple perspectives at the same time. So in the third level, you understood the perspectives. In the expansion level, you can hold the perspectives together. You can hold a first person perspective, a second person perspective, a third person perspective, and a fourth person perspective all together. Integrate them into one huge, expansive worldview. And with this, that opens the door to the fifth stage of transformation and realization. This is when you really start to see the world as one huge, magnificent being, one live organism, and we are all the one and the parts at the same time. You are part of the whole, and you enfold the entire whole within you. It's a very advanced stage. And its signs, everything has signs. Each one of these levels has signs in it. And we will get to learn these signs in our studies. But the signs of this transformation is peace, peace in the heart, contentness, calmness, wisdom and illumination. Everything becomes expansive, light, energy, love, compassion. You relax. Is. This is what is Hawkins calls isness. You are in a state of divine isness. I draw this journey in this type of cycle here, and I say it's a circle. So it goes on in spirals. From small circles, they get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. I like to put this also in a visual sense, so that people can relate, the visual people can relate to it more. So the first step is a state of presence. And I love this picture of this present dog. I was just talking to Natasha, for those who don't know, my lovely wife. I was sitting with her, we were both studying, and our little pet kitten, well, actually she's a cat now, she's a little tiger. She was just sitting on a beanbag, and for 2 hours, she's just sitting, just like this dog, present. And she was asking me, Natasha was asking me, what do you think she's thinking now? And I told her, she's in the now. She's not worried about the future. She's not angry. She's not calculating things. She's not in scarcity. She's just present being. And with the presence, she can read clearly the inner and the outer signals. And by knowing yourself, know thyself, you open the door for the inner work, for working on your shadow material, on your yin and yang, on your masculine and feminine, on your dark and light, on your being, to become a complete human being. We call it the law of three, the psychosynthesis, the thesis, antithesis, and synthesis, this integration of all sides together through this shadow material work, which opened the doors of understanding the perspectives from a deep level. And that's why the way we teach the Enneagram in our school is actually from a very deep place. We teach it from a psycho-spiritual place. Unfortunately, more than 90% of the people worldwide whom I have seen teaching the Enneagram teach it as a personality model, as a way of breaking humans down into 9 pieces and showing the difference between the 9. No, we start from the personality, but then we take you deep into the psychology and spirituality, where you see all this converging into a oneness. And we are all facets of this oneness, this expanded view of these perspectives. And then through the integral model, the structure stages, as Wilber calls them, the stages of cognitive capacity development, basically the spiral dynamics integral. We base it mostly on that, but add some other models to it. We get to learn about expansion, worldviews, how life has changed how we have changed in seeing the world and seeing life. And we go deep into this. And just by studying this model, a huge expansion in the psyche happens. You become receptive to all, which allows you now to move into the deeper level of heart transformation, emergence. You emerge into the essential effusion of light. Regardless of how you see it, what you call it, what you believe in or don't believe in, you go into the transpersonal and the transformation happens. So it took me several years to understand the path in this way and to model it in this way. And based on this, I built the programs of Enneagram Egypt. Today, I mean, these programs are in continuous development. Today, we have 3 programs. We use journey or programs interchangeably. So sometimes we say 3 journeys, sometimes we say 3 programs. And I like to compare these for people because it makes it closer to the mind, as if we have bachelor's, master's, and PhD. 3 levels, 3 stages, each one of them profoundly deeper than the earlier one. Our introductory program, our introductory journey, is the Awaken through Enneagram journey. And the name here is chosen very carefully. It is not an Enneagram journey. It is not learn your Enneagram type, know the Enneagram, study the Enneagram. No, no, no. It's called Awaken through Enneagram. This is a path of awakening, a path of enlightenment, starting by the main tool of the Enneagram. It's just the start. And each of the programs is broken down into 3 levels. You could call them 3 courses, 3 modules, 3 levels. The first level in the Awaken Through Enneagram program is called Enneagram of Personality, where you get to study the basic emotions and feelings, human emotions and feelings. You get to understand the intelligence centers, and then you study the types in detail, the dynamic movement, the wings, the resources for growth, the tri-type theory, the instincts, the subtypes, and then you relate all these together in one magnificent model of personality. And I would say almost anyone who teaches the Enneagram in the world, 95% are within this program, and even this program is even more profound than that. This level, as you can see in the line at the bottom of the slide, every level, like Enneagram of Personality, level 1, is 12 sessions, 12 lectures. Every session is 4 hours, and we teach a session a week. So for example, this introductory course, level 1, Enneagram of Personality, starts Saturday, not tomorrow, Saturday after, so the 16th, and it goes on for 12 weeks. And along these weeks, parallel to the 12 sessions that I give, there are question and answer sessions, there are practice sessions that are done, some of them with me, and some with the co-facilitators and the assistants that will help you along the journey. There is also a portal, a course portal, where all these lectures are within 72 hours uploaded into the portal for you to keep listening to and repeating. And you will also find there lots of resources, references, books, video material, assignments. Everything is on the portal and is kept on the portal for 1 full year for you to go back to whenever you need. After you finish the Enneagram of Personality, level 2 is the Enneagram of Psychology, where we understand the deep psychology behind the Enneagram types. We get to know the inner child wounds, the ego attachments, and then we go into the shadows. And based on all this, we understand relationships from a very deep place, from beyond the psychological material. And finally, the 3rd level is the Enneagram of Transformation, where we use the psychological material for real transformation. We have a program of mindfulness with the Enneagram, growth within the Enneagram. Someone is drawing there on the screen. I'll clear it up. So mindfulness with the Enneagram, maturity and psychological growth in the Enneagram, spiritual meaning and direction behind the Enneagram types, and the heart wounds of the Enneagram, the heart of the types. So this is the Awaken Through Enneagram journey, and we call them by color. So this is the blue journey, the first journey. And then in the second level, we move on to our own unique journey. This is our journey uniquely worldwide, and it's well known worldwide now. And I have presented it in many conferences. And actually tomorrow I even have a presentation in front of Integral Global, which is Ken Wilber's group, and Corey Davis. For those who knows these people, I know that someone here is from Boulder. Searle is from Boulder, so I'm sure she knows all these names. So tomorrow I'm presenting this stuff in front of them because it is a unique work worldwide, and I presented it at the Integral conferences and the Enneagram conferences, where I integrate the structure stages, spiral dynamics, and the state stages, the work of the Sufis, the work of the mystics, the work of the contemplatives. I integrate these with the Enneagram. So the first level of the integral Enneagram model, I call it the stages of the mind. This is now my model, where we study in depth the spiral dynamics integral model and some of the cognitive development models that are attached to it through Wilber and others. And then we study the journey of each of the 9 types as they ascend up on the ladder of development from the cognitive capacity and cognitive complexity mode. So we take type 1 up the development levels, type 2 up the development levels. So you get to see even how the types ascend the spiral, ascend the stages of the mind. And by now, the human has, the individual, the student has already had a profound transformation. With every level, by the way, you will find a huge shift in your character, in your personality, and in your inner being, in your inner world. But by now, you're already a different person, and you're ready for a very spiritual module. The stages of the heart. And this is a module that has such a huge effect on myself when I teach it and on everyone around. When I present the stages of the heart in conferences, I have lots of people coming up to me and saying, you gave us back faith in spirituality. Because I'm talking now stages of the heart from a very high cognitive capacity stage of the mind place. So it's not the dogmatic spirituality. It's not the materialistic spirituality. It's not even the new age narcissistic spirituality. It's an integral spirituality. And from this integral spirituality, and by combining this with the work of the Sufis and with the work of the mystics and with the work of the transpersonal psychologists, which I'm studying now and I've been studying for a while, by integrating all this, this is a uniquely profound module. But it needs a lot of preparation before you can enter into it. And the last module in the integral Enneagram journey is called Dimensions of Consciousness, where we complete the integral model. So we put in the lines and the quadrants and several other aspects that give us the complete map. And again, we map the Enneagram types on the quadrants and on the lines and on the different affects and basic human emotions and feelings, which we started the whole journey with, but from a totally different level. Now, these 2 journeys are very heavy and very deep. And usually, because some people say, should I take 1 or should I take 2? And I say, if you have never done any inner work before, you're not familiar with the Enneagram, you're not familiar with the integral model, you haven't studied psychology, you haven't done any coaching, then definitely just take level 1, Enneagram of Personality. Don't take more than that. It's going to be heavy enough. You're going to be down to your head in it, you know, all the way deep. But if you're a person who knows the Enneagram, who knows the integral model, who's done psychological work, who coaches or has been coached, who's been on these journeys for a while, then you could have the capacity to take the first two modules together. Level 1, Enneagram of Personality, starts Saturday the 16th, 5 to 9 Cairo time. And level 1, Stages of the Mind, will be Sunday, 5 to 9 Cairo time. So I put them Saturday and Sunday, 5 to 9, so that for those in the West, in the United States, and we have many people on the call, at least they were here for a while from the United States, that they could also join. So it fits people from Europe and the United States and on their weekend. So it doesn't clash with the workday. And it's once a week. So if you find that you have the psychological capacity, the time, and the effort to take them both, you can take them both. Otherwise, I would recommend just taking level 1 Enneagram of Personality. It's deep and profound enough. Yes, Cyril is telling me hello from Boulder. Yes, I remember that. So lovely to have you here. And Boulder, I think, is what, like 9 hours difference now, yes? So most probably you're just before noon now. And then after people finish these two, many of our students, I mean, I've had over 1,200 students who have studied the journeys, and we've had over 500 who have graduated from these programs. Many of them, after this time, even if they didn't have it in mind when they started, they say, well, we want to teach this. We want to coach with it. We want to mentor others. There's so many things we want to write. And this is where the third program comes in, which is called the Certified Integral Enneagram Teacher and Trainer Program. And it's not just teacher and trainer. I put teacher and trainer because this is what is commonly known, but it's teaching, training, coaching, mentoring, assessing. So the first level in the teacher and trainer program is using the integral Enneagram for assessments, for typing, and for coaching individuals, groups, and in corporates. So you get lots of tools. And in this module, I introduce lots of tools from the other disciplines that I've been in. So we get some NLP tools, some hypnosis tools, some other energy tools, in addition to tools from the Enneagram world itself, from the coaching. So we have lots of tools in this module. It's a whole toolbox. It's a very powerful module that prepares people to teach, to mentor, to work with others. And then we go into conscious relationships. And this might be the module that really shakes the people the most, and that's why I give it so late, because we use the Enneagram and the integral model to see our relation to the people and to the entire world around us in a totally different way. We use the quadrants in relationships. We use the stages, the structure stages in relationships. We use the state stages in relationships. We talk about spirituality in relationships. We talk about relationships from the growth perspective, from all different perspectives. We talk about relationships. And this is very important, again, for someone who wants to teach and train, to be able in their practice, in their coaching, in their mentoring, to create a strong relation and being able to hold the multiple perspectives. You can hold them with your spouse, with your friends, with your boss, with your coachee, with all those around you, 360 degrees, the whole sphere around you. And then finally, the last level is the conscious teacher and trainer. Again, this is one of our unique programs that we have introduced, because here I have brought lots of work from the transpersonal coaching, the transpersonal mentoring, from spiritual guidance, plus teaching methodologies. I've been a university professor for many years, teaching methodologies from the research side, management and leadership methodologies from the business environment. And I've created a program, this level, where you are conscious in what you deliver, and you deliver conscious teachings. So conscious teacher and trainer here you being conscious and be able to channel consciousness to those around you. Now, the full details of these 9 levels, the 3 programs, are found on our website. You will find several layers of detail. So you will find charts like these. So it's more detail. Level 1, what's in it? Level 2, what's in it? Level 3, what's in it? We have the blue journey, as you saw here in this slide. We have the blue journey, the yellow journey, and the green journey. So this is the blue journey, the yellow journey in more detail, and the green journey in more detail. And then for every module or every level we are about to teach, like we're starting next week with level 1 Enneagram of personality and level 1 stages of the mind, you will find detailed week by week, session by session analysis of what will be given in the session, plus so much more will be put on the platform for you to review. So I'm about to finish my presentation. As I said, we have level 1 Enneagram of personality coming up on the 16th, every Saturday from 5 to 9. I think we end by April 3rd. And we have level 1 stages of the mind coming up Sunday the 17th, 5 to 9 Cairo time, which is GMT +2, Greenwich +2. And we finish, I think, April the 4th. Then we take a 5-week break and we start with the level 2s in mid-May, ending end of July, early August, and then we start level 3 in September and we end in December. This is usually our cycle. We'll have these 2 programs together. The teacher and trainer program, we provide only once every 2 years. So we'll be starting it by the last quarter of this year or the first quarter of the second year. And that's still some time to it. I always advise people to take these journeys slowly. There's no destination. Transformation doesn't come quickly. Unfortunately, we are living in days where people are used to everything coming quickly, coming fast. Even spirituality, they want it to be fast. I call it fast food spirituality. It's not my word, I've read it somewhere, but fast food spirituality. It's like, okay, I'll go on a retreat for 3 days and I'll come back an enlightened person. I'll come back, I have healed all my problems. Or the opposite. I went to a retreat for 5 days and I spent such and such money and I still have my sufferings. Oh, those guys, they cheated me out of my money. No. Transformation takes years and years. It's an endless journey. People stay module after module, level after level, only to find me telling them at the end, fool if you think it's over. I think this was Bruce Springsteen. Wasn't it him, his song? Fool if you think it's over. It's just begun. It's just the beginning of the journey. The journey goes on forever. So this is, as I would say, the methodology behind what we give and the details of the journeys and where they came from and how they are in a continuous evolution. As I evolve and work on myself, as I learn, I teach, and I always encourage those with me to also teach what they learn. And I say, I support you. If you take these 3 programs with you, then you're always my responsibility to support you, to stand and have your own practice. I will always be your mentor. If you want to be with us under the umbrella of Enneagram Egypt, you're welcome. If you want to create your own practice, I will always be there to help you and support you in your work, because this is how we will transform ourselves and transform the work. I learn from teaching as much, if not more, than I learn from receiving. So I encourage everyone to learn and to teach, to learn and to deliver, to learn and to mentor, to learn and to coach. These are our contacts. Enneagram Egypt was founded by myself and Natalia, my wife, my lovely wife. And Natasha has been also in the Enneagram and the Integral for several years, but she focuses mostly now on providing these programs for schools, for teenagers, for preteens, and she has a program coming up for parents and for teachers in the schools. She is a co-author, a co-creator of the Enneagram Egypt School project with our dear teacher in the school, Rania Hussein. Both of them together have a magnificent project that they have presented in conferences and have worked on it. And also she has created the Enneagram Teen Project and Pre-Teen Project. So many people have found it beneficial that while they take the adult journey with me, they have their children taking the teens and pre-teens with Natasha. So I just wanted to introduce her here because she didn't introduce herself enough in the introduction. And this is our website. Please go to the website. You'll find lots of information. Our platform for the courses is courses.enneagramegypt.com. Should add it here to the slide. And this is our number, the WhatsApp number, our dear brother and friend, Muhammad Mustafa, who's on the screen right now. This is his number. He's there for any questions, for any requests, for any guidance needed. Also Messenger on WhatsApp, Instagram, any way you want to reach out to us, we're here for your questions.